my name is Dr. Soo-Young Kim, and I'm the principal investigator of Project Dual Developmental Understanding Across Languages. And today I am pleased to feature Kennedy Baines, who has been our research assistant since summer of 2025. She's been on my project for over a year, and she has done so many different roles and has been so outstanding. So I wanted to feature Kennedy before she graduates because she's graduating this summer. So I chose Kennedy because she has been phenomenal. Every time I message Kennedy about any little part about anything and needing an update, she is so prompt in responding to me. And Kennedy has served as our head research assistant, overseeing the survey team for scheduling, and also worked as paperwork appointment research assistant. And Kennedy has also helped with helping us with developing new scientific publications with our graduate student. And the graduate student was just raving about how great it's been to work with Kennedy. She was saying how sometimes when she gets stuck in figuring out how to write the next part, she would seek out Kennedy's help to brainstorm some ideas. And Kennedy has been so helpful, not only in one publication, but two publications with the graduate student that is currently in the works and under review. So Kennedy has been just so outstanding, our star research assistant for the past year. So we wanted to feature Kennedy. So one thing I wanted to start off with was asking you, what is your major and graduation date?
My major is psychology, and then I graduate August 2026, this August.
Sounds good. And then what are your plans after graduation?
So I'm going to take a gap year. So during my gap year, I'll be a therapist assistant, and then I'll be applying to grad schools.
Grad school in what?
I'll be applying to schools in California, and then I'll be applying to some online schools as well.
Okay. So when I first met you, which is, last year, one of the things you told me right away was that you wanted to do a PhD in clinical psychology. And I remember telling you how important it was to get involved in publications. And
Mm-hmm.
you were very, very good at following up with me. So that's how you got involved in those two scientific publications with my PhD student. And so when you told me just now that you are now thinking PsyD, it kind of surprised me. So I'm curious to hear, like, how did you go from the PhD mindset in psychology to the PsyD, and what was kind of the thing that helped you realize the PsyD was the better fit for you rather than the PhD?
Because I think after taking a lot of research classes and then just helping with the research papers, I was like, I don't really think research is for me. I like to work directly with people. Like after being a mentor and being a discussion leader, I liked directly working with people rather than doing research.
I see. So then you realize that getting the research experience helped you realize that's actually not what you want to do.
Yes.
So now I'm going to switch a little bit to the work you're doing as a research assistant on my project.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to know, like, when you first decided to join my project Dual, what motivated you to give it a try?
Because at the time I did want my PhD, so I wanted research experience. So that's
Mhm.
why. So I want to put on my resume. But I'm still glad I got this experience. I really like doing the admin work and interacting with people in the mentor sessions and discussion sections. I really do like it, honestly.
Okay, sounds good. So then tell us more about like what your experience has been with the class meetings, the discussion sections, the mentor meetings. It sounds like you had both been a participant in that, but also you ended up being a leader with both the discussion section and mentor meetings. So tell us more about what your experience is like on that.
I like the class meetings. I feel like I got a chance to interact with the RAs and get to know them better. And then at the time I was my one of my first roles was the paperwork RA. I met like a lot of them previously, so do the paperwork RA roles, so it's nice to see them in person. And then I
Mhm.
liked how the classes were every other week, so I feel like it
Mhm.
was balanced. It didn't feel like too much and there are no exams. And then
Mhm.
I liked the mentor meetings. They felt very like they felt very personal, and I felt like I could be myself and just ask her any questions I had. And then the discussion sections also got to interact with the RAs a lot and got to get to know them better and learn more about the project.
Okay, gotcha. Um, and then one thing I wanted to know was what is your favorite part of being in Project Dual?
I would say my favorite part was definitely I think being a mentor. I really like it. I really do.
So you
Like
like
it's a,
being the mentor.
yeah.
So what about it like makes you like it so much?
I don't know, like I love to just interact with them and just make them comfortable and answer any questions they have and just be their source of support.
Mm, okay. Kind of like being a therapist, I guess.
Yes, yes, exactly.
So you found your calling. One thing I was curious about is, how I started getting you involved with the PhD students' research projects because at the time you were thinking about the PhD,
Mm-hmm.
but now you say you're planning on doing the PsyD, the more the therapy route. I'm curious, did you ever tell the graduate student that you've now changed your mind or you never
Oh, I
did?
never told her that. I think,
So do you think you will or you're just going to keep that under wraps?
oh, I don't know. I'll probably tell her. I don't know.
Okay. Because, it's also a good thing to let them know that the work experience that you had with that person helped you discover what you did or didn't like, to pursue for your future. So I think it's fine to let her know too,
Okay.
So we've been talking about what your experience is, but we never heard from you what you do on the project. So do you want to say what you've been working on or what you have done or you're working on now as a research assistant on the project?
So I'm head RA, and then I'm a mentor leader, discussion section leader, and I just joined the daily calls team. So as head RA, I just have the meetings with you every Wednesday, and then on Saturdays I have office hours if RAs have any questions, and then I just administer the exam materials to my team, and then I proctor their exams and I grade their exams. And then
Mhm.
for the discussion section, I just make sure that they meet the project requirements, and then they learn more about the project through games and stuff. And then for the mentor meetings, I just make sure they're meeting project requirements, and I just check in on them and answer any questions they have.
Okay. And so I'm curious to know, like, how do you feel supported in Project Dual?
I have you as my support system. You answer my questions pretty fast. And then I have other RAs or the TA.
Hmm. Okay. And then what was it like being a research assistant in my project in the beginning and now that you're an experienced RA? I'm curious to hear what that progression has been like for you.
I was very nerve-wracking at first. There was a lot of information, and then I wasn't used to I just worked at a daycare, so I had some leadership experience, but I didn't have like a lot. Like I never, like hosted a Zoom meetings and stuff, so I was really nervous about that. But now I would say I'm more comfortable like putting myself out there, and my communication and leadership skills got way better. They got more enhanced. So.
Okay. And how did you get to do the role you currently do on Project Dual?
I was offered the head RA role, and then for the other roles, I just asked you if I could do it.
Yeah. And
Then
then I
I
said yes.
yes.
And what do you think is the one thing people don't know about Project Dual?
I'll say that I think a lot of research projects they probably don't have like a good support system. They probably just like throw them in there. But I think in Project Dual, I didn't expect there would be such a great support system. There's the head RAs, discussion leaders, mentor leaders, and then you,
Mhm.
and just other RAs that are in the same position as them. So it's a very good So we have a very good support system here.
Yeah. Also, what we're trying to do is make sure you have, multiple different people you can go to so you don't feel like you're stuck if you ever have a question or if you're feeling like you're not certain on how to do certain things. Do you have anything more to say in terms of what Project Dual may mean to you?
I'm very grateful for this experience. Honestly, like it really did help me grow as a person, and I'm glad that y'all decided to keep me to get to accept me in here and trusted me to be head RA.
Okay. And what is something you learned about yourself after being in Project Dual?
I would say I learned that since I've never been a leader before, I never realized how much of a good leader I was because after I trained RAs or asked them if there's anything I could do better, like every time they would say, "No, like you're really good at this. You're really nice."
And did working on my project change your view of research in any way?
Um, yeah, I thought research will be collecting and analyzing data a lot, like you see on TV. I didn't realize it requires a lot of admin work and all that. So
Mhm. Okay. And how has your experience at UT Austin changed as a result of being in my project?
I'll say I didn't take this many classes before. I took this class as an extra class for my bachelor's degree hours, so it just helped me manage my time better, like while being at UT. It helped me learn to manage my time by having 15 hours.
Mm. And what are some of your other significant experiences as a student at UT Austin?
I would say I think working at the daycare as well, working around kids, it made me realize that I definitely don't want to work with kids in the future. I like working with people my age, but I think working at the daycare really did help me understand and enhance my compassion and understanding towards kids.
You've worked and talked with so many research assistants this past year.
Mm-hmm.
What would be your advice for any future research assistants on the project?
I would tell them to just ask questions, don't sit there being confused. You have a lot of support. Yes, please, or else you'll have to work on whatever you're working on longer and it'll just be confused, more confusion and stress.
Okay. And did you have any questions that you wanted me to answer during the interview?
How else do you manage doing so much in Project Dual and working every day?
I just have a system where, I have uh, time with my family, and then time for, working out and taking care of myself, and also time for work. And when you're a scientist and have a PhD, it's almost like a lifelong journey. Like you have kind of your life's work to do as, getting your PhD and your program or research you're developing. So it's really just a high level of dedication towards my job as a, social scientist. And that involves, collecting new data, managing large team of students to be able to collect the data that I would like to collect, publish those findings, writing grant applications to be able to fund the work. So it's just kind of it's just part of, being a faculty member, I guess, as a tenure track faculty member at UT Austin.
Okay. And then also, one more question. What results surprised you the most from the study you've done for about 10 years now, right?
Yeah, we've been doing this study for quite some time, for more than a decade at this point. I think the thing that always surprised me about my research findings is we do a data analytic technique called latent profile analyses, which is when we have a group of people, like in our study, we have about 600 that we started with. We can do an analysis called latent profile analyses where we can group people into different categories or different configurations of different variables. And we've consistently found in our data that adolescents who are classified as efficacious language brokers are always doing so well in many different domains of their developmental outcomes. So this is, very similar to the research technique that the PhD student you worked with on her paper. She also used latent profile analyses. And so what we find is that these language brokers who are highly proficient or highly bilingual in both English and Spanish, where they feel really positive about their language brokering experience and feel low level of negativity, and they're in environments that are also quite supportive from their families, those things all kind of come together into one kind of profile or configuration. And they represent, I would say, about 25% of the sample. And that 25% who I would consider or label as efficacious language brokers, they do so well in so many different areas. So we would examine things like executive function, which is their cognitive ability, and they're doing stellar. We also look at things like cortisol response, physiological outcomes, inflammatory biomarkers, and they're also doing really well in those areas. And they're also doing really well in terms of their school grades, and also doing really well in terms of their socio-emotional well-being. Lower depressed mood, lower anxiety, more positive outlook on life, like high level of resilience, high level of life meaning. So I kind of they call these efficacious language brokers like superhuman. And I'm just so curious to see what cultivates, that level of resilience and, being efficacious, in terms of like outlook in life, because those adolescents who are classified as efficacious language brokers, they're doing so well in like numerous domains. So I'm actually quite jealous of them and I want to learn more about them. It's kind of like been my life quest now, because every time I look at that profile and look at one new outcome I've added, they're also doing well. So it's just like I kind of think of them as superhuman, and I'm curious to see, how did they get there and what are the predictors of that profile, and how do they maintain that level of productivity and success and happiness. So I'm curious to kind of follow them along and see how they do in the future as well. So was there anything else you wanted to add before we end our spotlight interview with you?
I'm just very grateful for this experience, and I'm very grateful for you. Thank you for accepting me to this project. It's been a great experience.
Sounds good. Well, Kennedy, it's been such a pleasure to work with you. Thank you for being so responsive, so reliable. And it's always been a pleasure to work with you. Our exchanges have been so pleasant, and I just could always rely on you. So thank you so much for being my superstar research assistant to be featured as our RA Spotlight series. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening, everyone.